The lighting is terrible, and so am I. Hey, folks, Harley here. Just wanted to follow up to my short over last week. Lots of on the road time here, so I'm hard rocking from Niagara Falls, Canada. Anyway, the topic for today is advantages or disadvantages of bands that have changed lead singers. A few examples. Brian Johnson. AC/DC started off with Bon Scott and up until the Highway to Hell tour, where he unfortunately passed away. And Back in Black was the first album with new lead singer Brian Johnson. Two totally different guys. Brian has a whiskey-soaked, growly voice. Bon Scott had kind of a snarly kind of wisecrack kind of voice, I guess. And I guess I take that more from his personality than anything. Bon Scott was a different kind of person. He had a lot more of an outgoing personality. I can't see Brian Johnson putting on pigtails in a dress to perform live on TV, but Bon Scott did that. Advantage or disadvantage? I like them both as singers. The music from Highway to Hell, or pardon me, from Back in Black on, suits Brian Johnson. I mean, they wrote it around him. The stuff before, from Highway to Hell back with Bon Scott was fantastic. I would see them either way, Brian Johnson or Bon Scott. I just think it'd be two different types of shows, where Bon Scott would take a definitely more of a lead singer type role. But yeah, I'm actually going to pick no advantage there. I mean, I think they got two great lead singers. Interesting to see. I'll post it in the description. If you've ever seen a Geordie video, Brian Johnson's original band, and heard him sing, his voice is completely different. That's kind of an interesting one. Chester Bennington joined Stone Temple Pilots after Scott Weiland, but I'm a Scott Weiland guy. That's a simple one for me. When Adam Gonche left 3 Days Grace, I don't know if anybody's familiar with My Darkest Days. They were kind of a Canadian project. Chad from Nickelback actually was involved in that. They had a hit, but a couple of years ago, and Matt Waltz is now he's left Darkest Days and he's with 3 Days Grace now. I haven't seen them with Matt, but my kids have a couple of times, and they're actually going again here, I believe, in September. Great show. Extra credit, another band who's just had a new lead singer. When they saw Grace, Bad Wolves opened up. My good buddy Doc Coyle and the Wolves have a new singer now, and they're touring again too. One band that I did see back in the day opening, I believe it was on the FUCK tour for Van Halen. Alice in Chains opened. So as a Van Halen fan, I was right up close to the stage and saw Lane Staley play with Alice in Chains, and I was blown away. I was in awe. I don't know if I clapped or just sat there with my mouth gaping open, but yeah, I miss Lane. William Duvall is doing a good job now, and I've heard some of their stuff. The music is the same, credit to Jerry Cantrell there, but yeah, I'd have to go Lane Staley on that one. A little Canadian thing, I went to see I Mother Earth years ago when Edwin was with them. It was a rock fest somewhere I don't know if it was in Calgary or where it was. And of course, Edwin left right after that. So I'm not even sure who went to sing for them, but yeah, that was kind of an interesting one. Iron Maiden. Paul Di'Anno was the lead singer for Iron Maiden's first album, the first one I bought back in '80, I believe it was. And I mean, there was a little blip in there, but I mean, Bruce Dickinson has taken the reins and really done a superb job. And I mean, that credit to Bruce and his voice. I love the first Maiden album and Killers as well. I mean, Paul Di'Anno did a great job. He's a little sick now, but I mean, I guess I got to go Bruce just for straight number of albums, and the fact that Iron Maiden not only got a new lead singer, but they got a pilot. So that's kind of cool. You get somebody that can fly around the world on your flights. I saw Styx for the Paradise Theater tour. I honestly think that was the last time I saw them, with Dennis DeYoung. Interesting show. I mean, Styx were all the rage back in the 80s. It was a good show. I mean, it was a theatrical performance. They did a great job. James Young, Tommy Shaw, Dennis DeYoung all handled vocal work. Dennis DeYoung, of course, has left the band, and Canadian Larry Gowan, who was Lawrence Gowan or just Gowan in his solo career, is now their lead singer. It's an interesting change, and they're having success with it. But I mean, I'm gonna have to. I'd go DeYoung on that one. No discredit to Larry Gowan, fellow Canuck. You know, we're all good. There was a band back in the day, a couple of years after I originated, called the Small Faces, and Steve Marriott was the lead singer. He left to form Humble Pie, and Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck joined and called it the Faces. Success for both bands on that end, I think. Humble Pie and the Faces with Rod Stewart. Pink Floyd, Syd Barrett, David Gilmour. I'm on the fence on that one. I mean, Gilmour is smooth. Gilmour is smooth vocally or on guitar. I didn't get into Pink Floyd until after Barrett, so I can't really say. But yeah, I'll go with Gilmour on that one. I'm going to talk about Rainbow and Black Sabbath in one, for the simple reason of Ronnie James Dio. After Ozzy left, was ejected, whatever, from Black Sabbath, went on to a solo career in the 80s, and he's done well. Ronnie James Dio did a couple albums with Black Sabbath. He also did some time in Rainbow, and then on his own. Rainbow also had Joe Lynn Turner. I believe I still got the album downstairs. I Surrender, I believe. That's the name of the song. Anyway, Dio is masterful at doing what Dio does. He can blast, and his lyrics are mystical and entertaining, to say the least. I mean, I really enjoy listening to Heaven and Hell album and his input on that. Last but certainly not least, the mighty Van Halen. As a Van Halen fan, since 1979, my buddy Jamie got me in high school, and 79 was my first show, and I've been to every one since. So yeah, I mean, Van Halen started off in the early 70s with David Lee Roth until, call it 85, when he left after probably one of the most successful albums and tours in rock and roll, with the 1984 release and the monster tour that followed. I saw it in April of that year, and those guys could fill a building. I'll tell you what, I've never seen a Van Halen tour where the building wasn't full, but the stage setup and the pandemonium, it's just, one thing David Lee Roth could do was market. He wrote some pretty cool lyrics, But yeah, he was a great front man and a hell of a marketing guy. You know, designing the stage setups and writing the lyrics, and the infamous rider with the no brown M&Ms to make sure that, you know, little things like stage supports and power setups were done correctly. If you missed the M&Ms, what else did you miss, right? So, of course, Dave left. The reasons I won't even get into. He left. He went on his solo career. There was a lot of infighting, or a lot of fighting between himself and the Van Halen brothers. Particularly, Mike got involved a little bit in some interviews, but I don't think his heart was really in it. In comes Sammy Hagar, who, you know, the guys had met before, but had the details are meaningless. Him and Eddie got his car serviced by the same mechanic, but at the end of the day, you know, they started talking. He came into the studio, and, you know, from what you hear, it was magic from day one. So we got 5150 and OU812 and the rest of the Van Halen albums up to the soundtrack for Twister, and I think that was very forced. They I don't even know if they recorded that together, but that was the end of them. That was unfortunate. I mean, Sammy was a good singer in his own right, songwriter, of course. He had solo success before he ever joined Van Halen, and band success with Montrose. So he was doing just fine. And Sammy leaves. And then in comes Gary Cherone for one album, Van Halen 3. Gary Cherone is an accomplished singer, and I mean, if you've ever heard any of his work with Extreme, him and Nuno Bettencourt are a killer team. Wasn't well accepted, I guess, by the Van Halen atmosphere, the Van Halen universe. So that lasted one album, and they went back to doing some work and then some tours with Dave until Eddie's untimely Eddie passed away October 6th a couple of years ago. So yeah, no, there's no more hope for anything there. But to rate anything, the Van Halen, Dave or Sammy, I think both deserve full credit for the work that they did. If I had to give an extra point, I would give it to Dave, simply for the fact that he was there, and in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people's opinion, he was responsible for getting the band where they were with his marketing and his, you know, just push. Dave was going to be a success no matter what. So, I mean, it was just a matter of who was in his way, and he did very good at marketing and getting Van Halen out there, and matching that with the talent of Edward Van Halen, there's nothing that could stop you. So, yeah, I'll take Team Dave on that one. I still very much appreciate Sammy's voice, the work he's done, and I listen to all Van Halen to this day. You know, if it's got Eddie's playing on it and Alex's drums, it's Van Halen to me. So, yeah, that's it. I'd love to hear your opinions down below, see what you think. The lead singer issue is something that's chased people forever. Everybody's always, you know, I hate this band because they dropped their lead singer, or, you know, why did they go with this guy, or da-da-da-da-da. It's always an interesting conversation. It's especially an interesting conversation when it comes to Van Halen. That seems to have been a heated argument since 1985. Yeah, so anyway, folks, tell me what you think. Throw a comment down there. I'm going to start doing a little more pointed topics rather than just blithering my mind. I've got an idea for the next topic. I've just got some more research to do. A lot of this is off the cuff, as this one was, but yeah. Anyway, guys, comments. As my buddy Uncle Roger says, slap that like button. All right, everybody. Be safe. Be well. Peace.